My girlfriend asked, "What if you saw me with another guy?" I thought it was a joke, until she made it real. So I quietly moved out, left a letter on the bed, and disappeared from her life. It started on a quiet Sunday night while we were making dinner together. Nothing out of the ordinary, just chopping veggies, music playing low in the background. Then, out of nowhere, she asked, "If you saw me with another guy, would you be okay with it?" I paused, assuming she was joking. I laughed it off and said something like, "Why would I be? Are we in an open relationship now?" She just shrugged, gave a vague smile, and changed the subject. I didn't push it. We'd been together for over 2 years. I figured she was just messing around or trying to start a conversation about boundaries or trust. People do that sometimes. But the next few days felt different. She got quieter, more distant. Her phone barely left her hand. She wasn't rude, just off. Then Thursday rolled around, and she said she was going out with some old college friends. I didn't think much of it at first. But later that night, I saw a photo on her friend's Instagram story. There she was, dressed up, leaning a little too close to some guy I'd never seen before. Still, I didn't say anything. Maybe I was overthinking it. Maybe it was nothing. Then Saturday came. She came home late, not drunk, but clearly buzzed and weirdly giddy. I asked how her night was, and she casually mentioned she had met someone interesting that night, but brushed past it quickly. I didn't push. I didn't want to accuse. I just let it sit. By Monday, I got my answer. I came home from work and found her on the balcony, talking on the phone. She didn't know I was there. I heard just enough to understand. She was talking to him. "The interesting guy," she said. "I think he's okay with it. He hasn't said anything, so I guess that means he understands we're just exploring." That word, exploring, hit me. Like I was just some old piece of luggage she'd outgrown and was now storing while she looked for something exciting. I didn't confront her that night. I slept beside her, wide awake, thinking about how I'd gotten here. About how a girl I thought I knew could so casually test me like this without a real conversation, without honesty. This wasn't about an open relationship. Not really. It was about her seeing what she could get away with, and how far I'd been before breaking. And I'll admit, part of me wanted to stay, to talk it out, to understand. We had plans, memories, love even. But something about the way she assumed I'd accept this made something shift in me. This wasn't a one-off mistake. It was a pattern disguised as an experiment. The next day, she brought it up directly. Over coffee, calm as ever, like she was asking if I wanted oat milk or not. She said, "I've been thinking, maybe we should try being open, just for a while. Nothing serious, just seeing other people casually, no strings attached. Just to see what we're missing, if anything." I stared at her, and for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel like arguing. I didn't feel like pleading or debating the merits of monogamy. I just nodded and said, "Okay." She blinked. She didn't expect that. I didn't ask questions. I didn't say yes with conditions. I just said okay, and we moved on. She thought I was agreeing. What I was really doing was preparing. After I told her, okay, she seemed relieved. Maybe even a little excited. Like she'd won some kind of emotional negotiation without ever having to fight for it. I could tell she expected resistance, some long talk about boundaries or jealousy. But when I gave her silence instead, she mistook it for approval. That was fine. I wanted her to think that. Over the next couple of weeks, she grew bolder. Her texts were shorter. Her nights out became more frequent. She'd drop vague hints like, "I might stay at Ginna's tonight," or "Don't wait up, it's a late dinner with friends." She'd still kiss me goodbye, still ask if I wanted anything from the store, still play the part of a girlfriend. But underneath all of it, I could see the shift happening. She was treating our relationship like an old sweater, worn when convenient, tossed aside when something newer caught her eye. I didn't confront her. I didn't go through her phone or track her location. That's not who I am. Instead, I focused on me. I opened a new bank account, quietly shifted a portion of my money there every few days, canceled a few shared subscriptions. I started staying later at work, picked up a freelance project on the side, spent more time with my own friends, the ones she'd always called too boring. The funny thing, the more distant I became, the more she seemed to enjoy this new version of our relationship. She thought my silence was a green light for her exploration. She didn't realize I was slowly pulling the plug. One night, she came home late, again. But this time, she was glowing, talking about some guy named Alex. How smart he was. How he understood her spiritual side better than anyone else. She wasn't even trying to hide it anymore. She actually laughed and said, "You'd like him, honestly. You guys would probably get along." That was the moment I realized how far gone she really was. She saw me not as a partner, but as a fallback. A placeholder. Someone stable to keep around while she played with chaos. The next day, I started apartment hunting. I found a place fast. Not perfect, but clean and quiet. Signed the lease. I told no one. No friends. No family. not even my roommate, who was her cousin, just to add to the mess. I packed little by little. Just a few things each day, moved discreetly after work. Clothes, my laptop, essentials. I'd leave the rest. 3 weeks after her open relationship proposal, I had everything lined up. I came home on a Friday. She was getting ready for a weekend away with the girls. She kissed me on the cheek and said, "We'll talk when I get back, okay?" I nodded. Sure. When the door closed behind her, I sat down at the kitchen table and took one last look around the apartment. The pictures, the mugs we bought on that road trip, the notes on the fridge. It all felt like someone else's life now, like a script I used to know by heart, but no longer wanted to act in. I wrote her a letter. Not dramatic, not cruel, just honest. I told her I wasn't angry, just done. That I had no interest in being someone's emotional safety net while they explored. That if she wanted freedom, she could have it, without me in the picture. I left the letter on the bed. I locked the door behind me and didn't look back. It had been 2 full days since I moved out when I got the first message from her. "Hey, where are you? I just got home and your stuff is gone." I didn't reply. I'd already said everything that needed to be said in the letter I left behind. I figured she'd read it, probably twice, before texting. Her next message came a few hours later. "Can we talk? Please? I didn't think you were serious about any of this." That line stuck with me. Didn't think you were serious. Like she believed I'd just sit there quietly, letting her date other people while I waited on the sidelines, holding the door open for her emotional return. As if she'd tested the boundaries of our relationship and assumed I'd bend instead of break. I didn't respond. 2 more texts came in, then a phone call, then a string of messages that went from confused to frustrated to apologetic. She said she was just trying to figure herself out, that she didn't mean to hurt me, that this wasn't how it was supposed to go. That last one, that's when it really clicked. This wasn't how it was supposed to go, because in her mind, this was a temporary experiment. She had imagined it as a phase, an exciting detour with someone new, but with me still waiting at the end of the road. She didn't want to lose me. She just wanted to see how far she could push. But I wasn't waiting. I had left. A week passed, and she showed up at my new place. I hadn't told her where I lived, but mutual friends talk, and I wasn't exactly hiding. She stood at my door looking tired. Less confident. Less smug. She asked if we could talk. I let her speak. She told me the open relationship wasn't about cheating. That she felt emotionally restless. That she thought I'd fight for her. That maybe, deep down, she just wanted to know I still cared. I listened. Calmly. I didn't interrupt. When she finished, she asked, "Can we try again?" And for the first time since all of this started, I said exactly what I felt without sugarcoating it. "No, I don't think we want the same kind of relationship. You said you wanted freedom, and I respected that. I'm just not someone you come back to after the thrill wears off." Her eyes watered. She nodded like she understood, but I don't think she fully did. Not then. She stood there for a while, then turned around and walked away. No yelling. No drama. Just silence. After she left, I sat down, opened a beer, and put on some music. Not sad music. Just something quiet. In the weeks that followed, I started to feel normal again. I went back to doing things I loved, without tiptoeing around someone else's mood swings. I reconnected with people I had unintentionally drifted from. I was clearer. Lighter. She texted once more, just a short message. "I get it now. I'm sorry. Take care of yourself." And that was it. You know, people talk a lot these days about modern love, about open relationships and freedom and not being possessive. I get that. I really do. But what they rarely talk about is how easily boundaries can get confused with disrespect. How exploration, without communication, turns into betrayal. And how testing love often ends up destroying it. I didn't leave because I hated her. I left because I finally realized I loved myself more than I feared losing her. What would you have done in my shoes? Would you have walked away, or tried to salvage something that felt like it had already changed beyond repair? Let me know your thoughts. This one still sits with me sometimes.